Hey guys, Mr. Starry. Today I want to talk about simplifying expressions. And what we need to think about is there's a lot that can happen when it comes to simplifying expressions. And sometimes it's like, well, which way do I go? Before you watch this video, you should have two tools on your mathematical tool belt. We should know how to use the distributive property, and we should know how to combine like terms, because both of those are going to be essential to this. Now, literally, the only wrinkle I'm going to throw at you today is we're going to do all distributive property first, and then we combine like terms, right? And that kind of goes back to the idea of, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or the order of operations, right? If you think about what the distributive property is, that's multiplying. If you think about what combining like terms is, that's adding. So it makes sense that we do distributive property before combining like terms, because that's what the order of operations in mathematics tell us. So what we need to do is we need to look through our expressions and we need to find any cases of distributive property. Well, if we look, notice I see it right here. This is something I can distribute. Now, the tricky part of this is kind of buried within. So what's important when we look at when we're going to distribute here, we need to make sure that we're getting this entire term, right? We are distributing a positive 4. Like I said in my other videos, and this one, I know that's a plus sign, but we're going to treat it as telling us that that 4 is positive. So what does that mean? Well, remember, distributive property tells us I need to distribute that positive 4 to every term that's on the inside of the parentheses. Okay, so let's do that. Positive 4 times negative 2x is negative 8x. Positive 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Now notice, I've kind of handled all of this, and what I tell some of my students is, once you handle something, stop looking at it. It's gone. We've replaced that with something simpler, so don't look at all that stuff that you just did. After you've kind of broken out into this, that's much less to look at than what we just did. Now it's just a matter of copying down what we didn't use. Well, notice I have a plus 8 hanging out over here, and notice I have a negative 3x out front here. Notice if I look through, there's no cases where I'm going to distribute, so I'm now ready to combine like terms. So let's do that. Well, my first term gets a box. I'm looking for any terms that are similar to negative 3x. Well, right next door we have a negative 8x. And if you look, there's really nothing else. So let's circle some other terms here. How about we put a red circle around my negative 4? Well, my negative 4 can very well be combined with that positive 8. So now we're ready to combine like terms. We have our like terms identified, so let's combine them. Negative 3x combined with negative 8x gives me negative 11x. Negative 4 combined with positive 8 gives me 4. I now have my like terms combined. Let's write my final answer. Negative 11x. This is a positive 4, so simply I just need to put a plus to represent positive. That is my final simplified answer. Looking at number 2, again, distribute first. So let's do that. We're going to jump right in. We're going to distribute the negative 6. Well, my two terms are negative 4x and positive 2. 6 times negative 4 is negative 24x. 6 times positive 2 is positive 12, or plus 12. Now notice we actually have a second distribution to do here, so we need to do that before we kind of start combining things. What you'll notice is we're actually distributing a negative 3. And again, I know that says minus 3, but when it comes to distributing and simplifying expressions, we need to start thinking about that minus 3 as a negative 3, so that when I go to distribute, I'm telling myself the correct thing. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x, and it kind of works both ways, because what we did is we just tricked ourselves into writing minus 6x. I said negative 6x, but now that we're looking at it, you can't even tell that I said negative because it looks like a minus sign. Well, we did this one, so let's do this guy over here. Negative 3 times negative 4 gives me positive 12, so plus 12. I've now done all my distribution. I don't have anything extra to worry about like I did in this one. So I'm now ready to start combining. Well, my first term gets a box. I look through. Do I see any other terms that have the same variable makeup? Well, of course I do. Good. Moving on, we now have a positive 12x. I'm going to use underline this time. It doesn't matter. You use what makes sense to you. Well, positive 12 and positive 12 are able to combine. Now I'm ready to combine, so let's do that. Negative 24x plus, or combined with, negative 6x equals negative 30x. 12 combined with 12 is 24. My final answer, negative 30x, positive 24, so I'm going to write plus 24. Done. That was a very, very quick overview of using distributive property and combining like terms to simplify expressions. But that's all I have for you today in this one, guys. We'll talk to you in the next one.